Well, I think, truly the challenge here is a mental illness challenge. What you see in people who commit these kinds of offenses is they really aren't well. So it's not really an issue of the guns themselves in many of these instances. And I've always been opposed to just an outright ban. I don't think bans work, and certainly out here, I mean, we all grew up, very much a gun culture. So that wouldn't be something that I think people out here would be very supportive of. That was a passion of mine in the legislature. I was on the State Affairs Committee helping to build the lines, build the capacity so that we could put a lot more windmills out in Pecos County, and currently we have an incredible solar development out here. That idea of diversifying was really important to me as the elected official out here, because we had been through the essentially the bumps and bruises of the, when oil is up, it's great, and then when oil is down, not so much, or gas is up, it's great, and gas is down, it's not so much. So trying to do things that would stabilize our local economy was important. When I was in Congress, I did vote for the bill to audit the Fed, not because I don't think we ought to politicize our money policy, but it's been an issue that if it makes some people comfortable, I want people to have faith in their elected officials, and I want people to have that trust. In the legislature, I was in the leadership in Democratic majorities. I was in the leadership in Republican majorities. I worked very well with all of my colleagues, and frankly, even as a member of Congress, I had the most bipartisan record in terms of signing on to legislation with other people, and also, frankly, my voting record. Mr. Hurd is an example, votes 96 or 97% of the time with his party, regardless of whether or not it hurts the 23rd district. I voted with my party about 75% of the time, because I keyed off of whether something was a good idea or a bad idea. I think immigration reform is a critical part of our economy. You can look around in Odessa, Midland, or anywhere else, and you can see jobs that go unfilled because we need more labor. And if you look at Presidio as an example, we need agriculture workers. So it's pretty clear that we need agriculture reform. That's the single biggest boost, I think, short-term boost to the economy that you could do is having a clear immigration issue. The sanctuary cities issue, for me, is more of a local issue. That's a law enforcement issue. The local law enforcement, the local sheriff, needs to decide how they're going to use their resources locally, because at the end of the day, how many people can you fit? I think what Donald Trump wants to do is ludicrous. You can't round up 11 or 12 million people all at the same time and put them all on a bus and send them all somewhere, because even if you could find them all, you wouldn't have enough buses. So let's talk about realistic, practical solutions that we can actually work on to make our state and our country a better place. I've said that Obamacare was an imperfect law, but rather than spend time and energy trying to repeal it when the repeal has to be signed by the president, and the president's last name is Obama, you're not going to repeal Obamacare during that time. So in the meantime, let's fix it. Let's make sure that more small businesses can participate. Let's get rid of some of the regulatory burdens that come along, some of the paperwork. We can do certain things that will make compliance easier. We can put more people in exchanges, create more competition in exchanges. So there's some things that we can do that I think would make the Affordable Care Act a little bit better. But I will tell you, there's certain core parts of the Affordable Care Act that I think are critical, that I wouldn't be willing to scrap everything and start over, because if you scrap everything and start over, that means that we go back to a system where there's pre-existing conditions. And frankly, this one is more important to me and to others as our kids get older, but you can leave your kid on your health insurance until they're 26. And so those are some pillars of the Affordable Care Act that I think that we need to keep. The truth is that about 80% of us get our health insurance through our workplace. And so in many instances, we're not impacted by Affordable Care Act premiums, but for those who are impacted, it's too big an increase, and we need to do something to fix it.